your essence. So the dress you wear, the way you speak, the food you eat, the conventional handshakes you extend, everything sums up into what we call culture roundedly. Your language, the way the language itself is used. But within the context of film and cinema, even the deployment of shots become cultural. If you take a Japanese film and you want to look at the man on the Titanic mat, the worldview of the Japanese is seen from that mat on the Titanic mat. So when you shoot a movie that is Japanese, for instance, and you use high-angle shots, you have already cut away the Japanese from its true cultural environment, which is why we say that even the shots that we use are culturally inclined. Let me give another example. When showing cars Kongi's Harvest, which originally was a stage play and which was adapted for the screen, was done, O.C. Davis, who was the filmmaker doing Kongi's Harvest, decided that he would use a narrator to tell the story that Soyinka had told about the Yorubas. And Soyinka he had a fit, because he said, there is no narrator in the Yoruba cosmology, because everybody in that environment knows the story, doesn't need somebody to serve as a bridge and link between a part of the story and the other part. One of the reasons for which O.C. Penny's movie, Kongi's Harvest, which was done by Francis Oladele Scal Penny, actually tottered and failed. The example is also to show that what I said about the shots can be culturally referent. And if the shot is culturally referent, then you must work within the ambience of that culture to deliver the shots that will give you meaning. One of the things we do with film is to shoot in and out of sequence. And what I mean by shooting in and out of sequence is that if the script is linearly done, you must not linearly shoot. You will shoot the movie according to technical convenience. If the last scene is what is convenient to shoot right now, for God's sake, go ahead and shoot that last screen. If the new shot is about the very beginning of the movie, go ahead and shoot the new shot. Why do you have to do this? The reason is that at the end of the day, you have a collage of shots, which will go to the editing room or suite, and from that editing suite, you can liberate that you have shot. So you do not need to shoot, chronologically or linearly. You should shoot actually according to technical convenience, because you don't have the money and the wherewithal to do that which the film requires you to do. So if you want to shoot A, B, C, D, and A is not ready, and you have borrowed or hired a camera chain, if you don't use for that day, you have incurred a loss. You must ensure that you minimize your losses, because film on its own is mega budgeting. It's not something that small boys play in. Although in contemporary context, film has moved away from celluloid, it has moved away from the magnetic tape, it has reached the digital age. Even in the digital age, it has further subdivided itself into ASPA pixelation and Krona pixelation, which enables you to do film in a more digitally inclined context than what was 15 years ago. To the Canadian African scene. Very typical in the examination of the film and film cultures of the world. In it, the Canadian film schools exist essentially around the Ontario axis, which is why the film festivals that you know in Canada, for instance, are essentially in that bent too. The Toronto International Film Festival and the Windsor International Black Film Festival. In Alberta, Calgary, yes, there's a budding film called Axis. If you go to Quebec, the French-speaking part of Canada, there is also a film culture, but not quite as established as the film culture of Toronto and Windsor. And you ask yourself, what is the reason? Ostensibly, the reason is that the Midwest of America, because Canada itself is also North America, the Midwest of America has influenced the film culture in Windsor. Windsor, by the way, is just 2 minutes away from Detroit. It's 2 minutes away from Detroit. And the Midwest part of the U.S. is almost predominantly black. Detroit, for instance, and the whole of Michigan is truly black. Hollywood emerged. And all of that create excitement. And the stories of slavery have gone away. Now they are talking about the stories of the authentic Africa, as they say it. So voodoo, the talisman, the hunter, and people who are imbued with all kinds of values. And to find relevance, easy access, and collaboration, they have turned to Nollywood. Nollywood has become the new found land, the new source for all of this information, all of these movies, all of this entertainment that film environment requires. And so we see a situation where there's need for exchange and export. The need for exchange and export. And if we recall our history,